Welcome to the October 2021 Star Wars Canon Update. Last month we got a new LEGO special, a new book, and 14 new comic issues, so let's dive in. This month is a little odd because just like September, we got a couple of non-canon stories. The LEGO special, Terrifying Tales, was fun, parodying a handful of classic horror movies to cover some backstory for familiar Star Wars characters. It had some good laughs in it, but I personally doubt I'll be revisiting it often. As far as canon is concerned, I don't think there's a whole lot to take away from it. Moving on to the novel Ronin by Emma Camden, this is also a non-canon story tying in with the Star Wars Visions short The Duel. It's not really what I normally look for in a Star Wars story. It was very mythological and mystical. It was an intriguing read to be sure. I think I missed the pulp side of things, but if you really liked Visions and want more, I think Ronin will scratch that itch. If you're a fan of really weird Star Wars, like the Mortis arc of the Clone Wars, I think this would be up your alley as well. If you're interested in the audiobook, you can get it for free by following the link in the description or by visiting www.audibletrial.com/StarWarsExplained. With that, let's dive into some comics, which were especially great this month. The High Republic number 10 continued Keeve Trennis's undercover mission with the Nile, which did not go well. When forced to murder Miarga the Hutt, Keeve attempts to buy some time, but Miarga betrays her, so she and Tarek are exposed. Lorna kills Miarga and then unleashes something spooky and purple on both Jedi. I assume it's the Leveler or some power associated with it, because through the Force, Tarek's Bond twin experiences the same pain and starts to turn to stone just like Loden did. And we can keep pulling on some of those threads with the first issue of Trail of Shadows, which shows Jedi investigator Emmerich hunting for clues to find out what killed Loden, because it's still a complete mystery to the Jedi. I loved this issue, which revealed that the Leveler has some sort of folklore status and connection to a very creepy lullaby the Jedi heard when they were younglings. The story and art worked well together to create something moody and atmospheric and mysterious, and I cannot wait to read more. Also, Daniel Jose Older wrote a tune for the lullaby, which Cavan Scott included in the Tempest Runner audio drama a few months ago, and that level of connectivity and foreshadowing deserves to be highlighted. And let's keep going with Older's work and the High Republic Adventures, issue 9. This story was all about Court's past and connection to Maz Kanata, of all people. We learn that he's worn his mask since he was an infant as part of his culture, and it will break off once he fully becomes who he is meant to be. It's still pretty early days, but I think watching these Padawans all become who they're meant to be and grow up into Jedi Knights and maybe Masters might be part of the overall High Republic initiative, and I love that. In the present day, we also kick off a Nihil attack on Takodana and the defense of the Jedi Temple there. The third issue of The Monster of Temple Peak continued to be intriguing. In the past, we see Ty's friend, Clyus, activate some dark side artifact which possesses him. In the present day, Ty faces a monster called a Greatalax and learns that it's not as monstrous as she was told when she was sent on the mission, until she forms a bond through the Force with it and sees something that changes her mind. I still wish this had just been a graphic novel as originally planned instead of split into 4 issues, but now it's mostly because I want to see how it ends, especially Clyus Terradine's story. Moving out of the High Republic, War of the Bounty Hunters came to an end. At least the series did. The crossover event still has a handful of issues coming, but the 5th and final issue of the main series saw Leia, Chewie, and Lando nearly rescue Han, only to have him pulled out into space where Boba Fett was able to pick him up and deliver him to Jabba. Which we knew would happen, but now we also know that 2 more series are on the way to continue the story of Crimson Dawn. War of the Bounty Hunters was just the beginning, and the tease in the final pages with all of Kira's allies was pretty sweet. I'm glad the Han Solo part of the story is over, because now we're in fully uncharted territory as Crimson Dawn continues to mess with the status quo. Dr. Aphra issue 15 was another great story, one of my favorites of the series in a long while. Aphra and Sana are trying to escape the Crimson Dawn flagship, and Aphra uses some dark side crafted technology to do it. The device works but temporarily takes over Aphra's mind before exploding, and then it seemingly infests the electrical tattoos she's had since we first met her. I love when Dr. Aphra deals with relics and goes all Indiana Jones villain by using them selfishly. This is exactly the kind of thing I love reading Aphra for, and I can't wait to see the consequences of having some dark magic stuck in her implants. In Darth Vader issue 17, we see Darth Vader destroy the Hutt Council, which leaves only Jabba left alive. I like that we establish how much chaos the Hutt cartel is likely in after Jabba's death. After learning that Baku the Hutt was working with Crimson Dawn, the Emperor demands Vader and Ochi seek out any spies within their ranks. Ochi travels back to the League of Assassins, where he finds that they have captured Kira, but he murders her captors and sets her free, revealing that he has also joined the Dawn. I am into that revelation, and we also see that Kira has another contingency to rescue Han. I think we can safely say that it failed and he won't be removed from Jabba's palace, but Kira seems to have at least some good intentions here. The IG-88 one-shot issue was just alright. We basically just see that IG-88 is rebuilt after his fight with Vader from many issues ago. He again tries to take Han for himself, but of course fails, and vows to continue improving his abilities and functions until he is the best bounty hunter in the galaxy. I'm glad to see he's still around, but other than that, the issue didn't do much for me. Next up, we have the final 3 issues of Ghosts of Vader's Castle by Cavan Scott. The third was a story about one of the characters learning to overcome his fears thanks to a dream about Luke Skywalker. The fourth was a spooky story about Anakin where he got to act like Damien from The Omen. What I loved best about this issue is that it really played with the art style to mess with the readers' heads about what was a dream and what wasn't. The fifth and final issue all took place in the real world with no dreams, and it was a great conclusion to not just this year, but all the Vader's Castle series. Vinay briefly captures the group, and they're all stuck breathing the fumes of Mustafar, which causes them all to see their deepest fears. But Vinay most fears Vader, and he winds up trapped with the vision of his former master. Meanwhile, our heroes are led out by a mysterious blue lightsaber. Who could that have been? It was Anakin's ghost. The ghost of Vader actually did appear and helped the heroes out. I got chills again just writing that. If the Vader's Castle comics are over, I hope we get something to replace them because I look forward to them every October. And to wrap things up, Star Wars Adventures issue 11 was our final comic of the month, and it was also good. Definitely one of the better in the Adventures line, and that mostly came down to Cavan Scott's story. When does that man sleep? But he did a Rogue Squadron tale, which immediately makes me like it. I loved seeing all the old slang from the X-Wing books, and a story about a hotshot pilot learning to be part of a team is a trope I can always get behind. The second tale was standard Adventures fare about Ree-Yees cleaning Jabba's sail barge, which is just like, okay, but I really liked the Rogue Squadron half. For the story of the month this time around, I am going with Trail of Shadows. I loved the noir detective-style storytelling set in Star Wars. The idea of a Jedi investigator is really cool, and the creepy connections between an old nursery rhyme and the new threat that can turn Jedi to dust is chilling. I can't wait to see more. In November, we're getting the final book in the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy, Lesser Evil, and 12 new comic issues. Dates are subject to change, especially for the comics. They've been shifting dates constantly, and this is going to be our last month in a while without a new live-action Star Wars series to look forward to. November is the calm before the storm because starting December 29th, we're getting the Book of Boba Fett, and 2022 is gonna be full. But that's it for October. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.